There you go.
All right, what's happening, guys? Yours truly here, Xavier Smith, aka Coach X, and we are live. You know what? I just realized that I don't have my sign up, so here you go. We are live with Coach X, and thank you for tuning in. I've got a friend of mine, Lori Potter. She's going to be talking about all things as far as solutions go for lymphedema and all things of that nature. We're going to get into that right here, right now. So if you're into some solutions, because that's what we're all about, we want you to do this. We want you to stay tuned. Let's go. So we just want to get right down to it. I got my friend Lori Potter. She's representing the educational piece to this whole component. My name is Xavier Smith, and I want to just go right into it. Lori, I want to have you introduce yourself and tell us this. There's a part that people wonder, why should we be listening to you? So tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about your background so we can go from there.
Okay, my name is Lori. I am a trained and licensed, certified, and medical massage practitioner. I currently live in California. I'm licensed in both Arizona and California. And I think the way that we kind of got a talking about our topic today was just kind of going around some great ideas for one of your products, which I don't want to kind of give away right now. So we're going to just maybe
Yeah.
jump into the topic, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
basically, I have worked in California for last 5 years with, I've seen quite a few patients in clinic and working for a DO, and just seen a couple of different things we're going to talk about today come up while I was in practice. I'm still trying not to give it away. Um, but yeah, that's just basically my background. I work with massage therapy, but I use it in a very different methodology than what you would see, for instance, going to a typical massage parlor. I use manipulation with tools and my hands to help people basically that have had injuries or have health problems.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's just let the cat out of the bag then. What we're talking about, the solution that we're all here for, is using PowerPlate, which is a whole body vibration platform that now a lot of people, when we get into the conversation and I share some pictures, I might even have some video content to share. A lot of people go away thinking that it's just a machine you stand on and it shakes you, but there is a vast difference between some of the other brands that make what they try to duplicate with PowerPlate, and as opposed to vibration, which has a whole medical component and solution attached to it. And that's what we're going to get into today.
Yeah.
So,
So
yes, go ahead, Lori.
yeah, I guess I can just kind of bound off you, Coach, because I contacted you yesterday and said, "Man, like this
Right?
product would be so great for da 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 lymphedema."
Yes, yes. And
So,
it is so true.
so maybe
So,
we should jump into, for those that don't know what lymphedema is, talk a little bit about what it is. We'll just give an overview.
okay, yeah, let's do that. I'm going to take my moniker off here, and then we're gonna throw up, just for momentary purposes. We're gonna throw up a picture that I have already uploaded here. Um, this is what we're talking about: solutions for lymphedema. And as you can see, there is. Um, well, you want to explain what lymphedema is, Lori?
Yeah. So I think most of us have heard about our lymph nodes, and maybe some of us know what our lymph vessels are. But if we just talk about the lymphatic system, your lymphatic system has lymph vessels, lymph nodes, and also several organs. And what they do is they collect lymph fluid, which is like protein, lipids, fats, waste, and it removes it from the tissue of the body. These are called interstitial fluids. And these fluids have to be filtered out of the tissue so that you don't end up having a leg that looks like either one of those pictures, or an arm or neck. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But one of the things that's key to this is that, if most of us know, the lymphatic vessels, first of all, are wrapped in and out of our arteries and veins in the body. They all kind of are amassed throughout the body. And one of the things that makes them so different than veins and arteries is they have gates that close and open. And so what happens is, and we're going to talk primarily about secondary lymphedema, not primary lymphedema, which is something you're born with. But in a lot of cases with secondary lymphedema, what happens is we have things like injuries or cancer or obesity or things that interfere with the lymphatic fluid. And so it puts pressure on the lower ends of our limbs, like at our ankles. Usually you'll see it sometimes around the wrists. It is definitely a medical condition. It's definitely something you want to have diagnosed by a doctor. I wouldn't take it lightly. There really isn't a cure for lymphedema per se, but what you can do is you can help an injured lymph system to work better. So that's what I love so much about the power plate was, it was like, oh my gosh, this would be a fantastic tool to put in your arsenal to help with this.
Yes. And well, as a matter of fact, we can probably get into a little bit of a segment, sharing some real true life stories. I've been using it for a few years now. And one client in particular, you and I have him in common. His name is Joe. He had a stroke a few years back. He hired me to help him with his road to recovery. And I was taking my unit, my power plate unit, over to his home once a week, I think every Thursday. And I would have him stand on the platform, just to get the blood flow, get the circulation going, and help him with some of the atrophy that had taken place as a result of the stroke. And since then, just in case you guys are wondering, Joe has also lost a foot due to gangrene developing in the foot. So he no longer has his from the right knee below. It's totally a brand new journey that we're undertaking now. So he has to be fitted for a prosthetic. But to Joe's testament, he has not given up, and he's just continuing to get stronger, even if it's just by 1%. I was just seeing him today, and I'm here to sing his praises. And we'll be back to as much as we can get to, considering his circumstance.
Right. And he had a really severe accident. So like he's got a lot of history in that injury. But I personally kind of believe that I mean, not to say that you're not a great coach, because I think you're really good at everything you do with your coaching stuff, but that motion on that plate probably actually very much helped him to keep the other leg, and also to not have lymphedema and swelling, because I have worked on him before and I have seen his legs, and in general speaking, other than the gangrene, which is a whole different issue or problem, his circulatory system and his lymphatic system look pretty good. Which is lucky, because a lot of times when people, I know he was in a wheelchair for a little bit, and when people tend to sit down, it's that lack of motion, which kind of just leads us into some of the things that people don't know, like lymphedema generally has stages, and there's 4 of the different stages, and we don't need to get into those because you can all look that up. But some signs of lymphedema might be things like your limb starts to feel really heavy, your arms or legs, or you see puffiness where you can't see veins in the top of your feet or the back of your hands, or where you start experiencing like extreme tightness around a joint and a loss of mobility. And then one that becomes really clear is this kind of weird spongy texture to the skin. And a lot of time people will mistake this. I've seen people say, oh, I think I'm just dehydrated, because they push in on that skin and it doesn't rebound back. That's not dehydration. If it is dehydration, let's say this, you could down a bunch of water and within a short period of time, that should go away. But this is different because it has a spongy feel to it. And another one where you know you're into an extreme stage of lymphedema is you'll see sometimes dry, scaly skin, or the skin, like the skin has an extreme discoloration like it. And I'm not talking about like what happens with the sprain. It's just an awkward, it's very clear that there's like not good circulation in that leg or arm. And so it is a little bit different. And you do worry about people like Joe that have had, I mean, he's been through a lot medically. So
Hmm.
you want to get them moving as much as possible. I mean, to me, this would totally relate to somebody that was wheelchair bound. And, you know, if they have the ability to, some people can stand, they just can't walk, like ways to get motion in the body. It's so important.
Right.
The power plate's one way. You could also use things. Normatec makes a compression boot that kind of fits from foot to, is another way of kind of squeezing lymphatic fluid and blood for people that can't per se need that extra help.
Yeah.
But the thing that's interesting is that a lot of times people need to have more physical therapy than what they're getting prescribed. And that's to me what makes products like Normatec's boots and like your power plate more productive for people, because you don't need to wait on a physical therapist to have one of those in your home. You can get up, do it in the morning, do it in the evening, and all of that motion you're doing is helping you. Because one of the things that happens to people when they start seeing this or start coming into this, I've had people tell me, "Oh, I'm getting fat," and I'm like, "That's not fat." And then, and then they're like, "Well, I don't feel like moving. It doesn't feel good, so I'm sitting more." And it's kind of terrible, but that sitting actually exasperates the problem and makes it actually worse.
Right.
And so that's what I loved about the concept of the power plate, is like easy to use, easy for anybody. Um, and you and I were also talking about a friend that we had in common who is dealing with lymphedema, and there's also a connection to obesity.
Right.
Um, and I think at times people think, oh, this is just when they see, especially see lymphedema in the legs, and I've noticed it a lot in women, people
Hmm.
assume that person is just really fat, and that is not fat. It doesn't look great, and in our mind, it's not something, but it's not something to lose that direction. And so teaching people why they need to do this isn't just about weight loss. Your lymphatic system is like what literally controls a lot of your health and your immune system. I don't think people realize, but like your lymph nodes are filled with white blood cells and lymphocytes. And so you have this whole process going on a daily basis inside your body where it's trying to remove toxins and filter out everything from the lymph vessels. So if those lymph nodes and lymph vessels are what do you call it, kind of like trapped by all
Yeah.
this fluid that can build up from lymphatic, like when it just builds up, then what happens is not just that they're moving less, but it's also affecting their ability to stay healthy and to have a good immune system. In other words, to fight off colds, flu, infections.
Right.
um, so I don't think we in this country talk enough about the importance of the lymphatic system, but one
Thank
of the
you.
most important systems you have in your body, like one of the biggest things you need to take care of. So
I often refer to the lymphatic system when I'm talking to someone who I'm trying to educate. I refer to that system as like the body's janitorial system. You know,
yeah.
its whole job is to sweep. You know, I'm thinking of like a janitor at a high school, and he's walking around the gym floor with a push broom and just sweeping
Hmm.
up the dust and just getting all the junk out for the next day's operation. And so we have that same type of system inside our bodies that we need to start taking care of.
Right. And movement's key. No, I don't care what you do. There's different things, it's different levels. And I feel like that's one thing that does make the power plate so attractive, is that if you're looking at it from a standpoint of like worst case scenario, maybe you're morbidly obese, maybe you had a severe accident and that leg is, one of the legs or both of the legs are extremely difficult to move. The power
Hmm.
plate will give you that ability to start somewhere. Do you know what I mean? To
Yeah.
stand up, like, and to start treatment. You can do things. I mean, obviously, the most obvious thing we should all be doing on a daily basis is walking. Um, then there's
Yep.
things like I've also seen personal trainers and physical therapists prescribe what do you call them, like the little mini tramps, and those are
Like the
great.
rebounders.
The little rebounders, which are fantastic. But if you've got somebody who is really in a bad spot physically, like Joe's missing, a part of a lower, that may not be an option for them.
Right.
Right. So again, it always goes back to what the clients, like what their base abilities are to do. But
Yep.
that's, and he may need help using the power plate. But again, it's got that little like handle, right? It
Yep.
can with the handle. So it's
So,
one of the things that he can definitely do, even on
yep.
his own, right?
So I like to think that the power plate, because most of the time, it's marketed as just fitness, or people associated with a fitness device, and I need to be fit in order for me to use it. However, me and you are here to represent that the fact that this has a medical application as well. As a matter of fact, this device is registered by the FDA as a Class 1C medical device, which, Lori, can you explain to the people what that really means?
Sure. In order for doctors to use devices like that in clinic, that's why they get them registered that direction. So it basically means that they've done some type of research showing that this has medical, like validity in medical use.
Gotcha.
So, and right away, what comes to mind with that is not, I mean, it's not even just the lymphatic, but it's also circulatory issues, right? Like we have some people that have all kinds of issues with blood, whether you talk about DVTs, deep vein thrombosis, which is like blood clotting in the leg that's not correct, um,
Yep.
which can literally give somebody stroke, heart attack, send their whole circulatory into the wrong direction. And again, and we could talk all day about this, but to me, that's like another topic. But we'll talk about how food affects all this.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
because the most important stuff's what you put in the tank, coach.
That's it. That is it.
We're driving Mercedes. We got to all think of ourselves like we're all Mercedes Benzes, right? Um,
Right. Right.
but again, like the circulation there's a good portion of the population, for whatever reason, are very limited in what they're getting done, and instead of pointing fingers and just giving up, it's like, how many minutes a day do they need to spend on that? five
Yes.
five 10 minutes a day in the morning while you're getting ready for work, while
Right.
you're whatever you're doing, like
Yeah.
standing in front of put it under the edge of your sink and brush your teeth. uh,
Yeah. It it can be something as simple as that, just
right,
putting your legs on it while you're,
right.
sitting down. Some people are not able to stand all the way up.
Hmm.
Some people that are wheelchair bound are able to at least get their legs up onto the plate. And that vibration, because what people may not see in this talk here is that the power plate move, for example, which is the one that I use, has 6 different vibration frequencies.
Hmm.
So it takes you through a range of several different feelings that your body will feel. So you can take them through that range, and just as far as you spoke of circulation, this device will definitely get the blood flowing, get those white and red blood cells flowing through the body. And
Right.
like you say, movement is key. So if you're not able to physically do it, then having this device in your protocol is definitely a solution.
Right, coach. It also makes me think of one of the basics that they teach in massage school is about oscillation, moving people. So,
Right.
like, if you have a good massage therapist, and if you don't know one, I know one.
There you go.
But if you have a good massage therapist, one of the things that they should do in with you when they're working on you is it should be a gentle oscillation, which means rocking. And so what this brings to mind is it's not, and we just said this at the start of the podcast, it's not always about one system. It's not just about the lymphatic. But when lymphatic system is flowing, the other thing that we're looking at here is your central nervous system. So
Mm,
when you've got blood circulating and lymph circulating, um, the central nervous system is also working, and so all of this is tied together with helping people to manage pain.
right.
There was like a massive article on Newsweek about inflammation, And it's one of the most under talked about things in our health world because there's a lot of things that cause inflammation. For me, I honestly believe a lot of it's tied to food. I'm a thyroid cancer survivor. I can talk a long time about autoimmunity and what happens to people living on American diet, which is also called the SAD diet because it is really sad, um, which actually stands for, I think it stands for Standard American Diet, but
Yes.
it's pretty sad.
Right.
Um, but again, like the vibration of that plate is also like one of those things that can help people to to keep that nervous system regulated and calm.
Mm.
Especially somebody like Joe who's been through surgery, amputation, like all these things help when the blood is flowing and lymph is flowing and the nerves are having like the ability to respond to everything. Then I feel like people are less in their head
Right.
because there's a strong neurological response to pain, right?
Yes.
So when things are flowing the way that they should be, when our bodies are being used, then we should therefore be in less pain. So
Yeah.
there's a lot to say about that product. I think it's an amazing product. I've used it. Um, and I
Awesome.
think it's something that everybody should have. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, I totally am on the same boat with you on that one. And speaking to that, we spoke about this off camera, but I thought it was especially good to note that a Power Plate as a brand, they customarily do not reach out to any celebrities or any athletes to solicit them for their reviews or anything. As a matter of fact, it's the other way around. These celebrities and athletes actually have used the product, and then they talk about the reviews or any positive experience, and it's all unsolicited. So I just wanted to make a note of that because there are other brands who try to duplicate the movement, which
Hmm.
they have a patent on the way it moves. And they've been the leader in this industry, in this space, for over 20 years. So
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure people knew about that part because we here at Excellent Solutions, we like to educate, not manipulate.
Yeah. You know what, Coach? I had a chiropractor here in LA that uses one, and he's kind of funny because that's one of the
Right.
first things he does before he will adjust your spine. And
Nice.
a part of it's to get the fluid in the body moving. He's just like, you're in here for 5-10 minutes. And he's kind of funny because he has a little screen on the wall with like a little mini movie about what's going on in your body. And
Mm,
super educational, but also was one of those things that I noticed every time I used that power plate before I had an adjustment with him, the adjustment was that much better. Like my
yeah.
body was able to move. So we
Yeah.
joke about it, but and as we get older, I feel like it is normal to and again, another day to talk about fascial planes and fascial lines in the body, but the body does get stiffer as we get older. That's just one of the most common complaints you hear from people as they age.
Hmm.
Um, but I do know that I am seeing a very young portion of the population with lymphedema, which is super concerning, like that you're seeing this in young people. And I honestly believe it has a lot to do with our increased use of phones, computers, what we're doing
Mm,
right now, but sitting in general, right? Like we sit so much more than we ever used to
right.
in this technology age. And so then that's another like great pump for why you would use the power plate, because the movement you're going to get in 10 minutes on that plate um, may be the best movement you get for the day.
Mm,
And
yep.
maybe you don't have time 30 minutes to walk a mile at lunch, but if you can't
Right.
do that, take the plate with you and get your 10 minutes in and call it a day, to at least know that you book some movement for the day.
Right. Right. Well, it does give you that sensation. I use this phrase a lot. If you don't have an hour, then give me 15 minutes and your body will feel like you've done an hour, depending
Right.
on what we do on the platform. And I will note that any exercise or movement that you can do on the ground can essentially be replicated on the plate, but the difference is this plate will make your muscles relax and contract up to 40 times per second, as opposed to on the ground where you're only activating your muscles 2 to 3 times per second. So there is a
That's
huge difference.
amazing. And you know what, Coach, when you think about that, that's actually one of the most important things you need to not have lymphedema, because one of the reasons people develop lymphedema, if I start thinking about like people, like it's common in women that have had breast cancer, because a lot of times they do radiation, and the radiation will harden the exterior side of the lung and the tissue surrounding the breast.
Hmm.
And so what happens is the muscles, it's almost like if you think of like overly cooked chicken, right? Like it doesn't want to move really quick. Your
Right.
muscles are very similar to that. And
Yep.
so that inability to contract and squeeze. Um, and so if you, that contraction and squeezing and movement of the muscles is what moves lymphatic fluid.
Yeah.
And so for anybody that can't get that, that's another bonus, that you're getting that increased movement as opposed to just trying to do it all yourself.
Yes, indeed. So, as a matter of fact, another true story I can share with you. This goes to the athletic side of the house, and I have two twins that I'm working with that are coming to see me because they play football, and their biggest complaint was that some of the other teammates, are complaining about stiffness and injuries, while these guys are coming to see me because I have the power plate. And what do you know? They're avoiding those injuries and staying a little bit more loose and nimble. When it comes to playing football, that's an absolute necessity. And
Mhm.
as a matter of fact, he told one of his teammates, and now I'm seeing him on a semi-regular basis as well. So I have to say that it is an advantage to have something like this in your fitness protocol, whether it's fitness, medical, or maybe in the spa setting for a nice
Mhm.
quick massage, because that there's applications for that too. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's a definite game changer, lifesaver, as I like to say.
I was gonna say it's probably great at helping to remove lactic acid, because that's the
Oh,
most common
absolutely.
thing. Yeah. So again, that lactic acid falls into that kind of like that waste that has to be removed from tissue in the body.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, all of us have, everybody has something to fight. It's very rare that I find somebody that's like, oh, I'm perfectly healthy, I have no health issues. Um, but athletes kind of have that added, because a lot of times their bodies, especially if they're in competition season, do not get the appropriate time they need to recover.
Mm,
So if you can give them something that helps speed up recovery a little bit, it's pretty awesome.
that is
um,
it.
I'm a huge believer in flushing. It's a technique done to flush athletes after events, and to
Yep.
potent, like helping to bring blood to vessels before events. But the majority of athletes, unless they're professional or semi-professional, don't get that type of involvement. So
Mm.
that power plate would give them something that they can do that will help increase that blood flow and make for better performance and also better recovery, right?
Oh yeah. That's one of the marketing statements that PowerPlate uses: perform better, recover faster,
Yeah,
and feel better.
right.
Those things are all in line with what this one machine can do.
Right.
And what I wanted to do before we landed this plane, Laura, is how do people get a hold of you if they have more questions about your skill set, and they just wanted to get to know you more?
Probably the best time, always open for either text, or they can reach me on Facebook, which you can put my information up in my phone number, which I'm pretty good. My phone number is already published on Google.
Okay.
Um, I'm most of the time I'm available in California, but at times I'm in Arizona as well. My daughter lives there still. So,
Nice.
um, but that's just the best way. And also, I'm open to helping people with suggestions, like if they've been struggling with something and not getting the results they need.
Mm,
Um, I'm a really good person to question about, like supplements. I don't want to give direct supplement use, but I will lend you towards people that I feel like are at the top of their game
mm.
with supplement use, because that's another thing we could probably spend all day. Like you could waste your money left and right. Um, and I still believe like the most important thing is movement. Like what we put, when we talk about like general health, what we eat and how we move, those two
Yes.
things right there are going to affect us greater than any pill we'll shove down our throat. But they can always reach me. If you can put my phone number up, that's perfect. They can message me on Messenger. I was pretty good about responding to people. So
Awesome. Yeah, I will. If you do want to reach out to me and get in contact with Lori, feel free. DM me, drop into my comment sections. We are here to serve. Because Lori is of the same mindset as me. And I just want to help enough people get what they want out of life. So I will always have what I want out of life. And that's just the way I'm built. And I know Lori shares that same sentiment. So yeah, I will put all of that up after we're done here, and maybe we can give them a little bit of B-roll after we officially sign off. We just been chatting for like 30 minutes already.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good thing to be, health is a good thing to be passionate about. I hope everybody
Yes.
knows. I mean, one of my beliefs, Xavier, is that the best doctor you have out there is yourself. Like
Mm,
when you advocate for yourself and research for yourself, you'll find that you can make, like, doctors are just they're a science, right? They're necessary for so many things, but there's so much research that is not done, and a lot of these companies that have excellent products can get flooded out, but we're here to kind of shout out a couple of the good ones, and this is one of the good ones.
yes, indeed.
So,
Now, tell me what your number is right now, so we can.
sure, if you need to reach me, you can reach me at 310-912-1178.
Okay.
And if I don't know them, they're welcome to text. Just reach out and say, my name's so and so. I have some questions for you, and I would love to help. So,
Nice,
um,
nice. Well, I got your number across my ticker at the bottom of our screen, and if you mention the Mr. XL or Coach X show, that will get you right in. Just mention me, mention the show, something of that nature, and we will do our best to get you taken care of. Or you can just reach out to me, whatever makes you feel comfortable, and that's what we're all about. So, Lori, thank you so much, and I'm just going to assume that we're going to do more and more of these because we have so much to talk about and so much to help people with. So
absolutely.
I think we're going to make this a nice little habit.
We'll build them some tools in their arsenals.
There you go. There you
All
go.
right.
Well, we talked about some power plate and a possible solution for your secondary lymphedema. If you do have any other questions, comments, or concerns, you know what to do. You just reach out to us and let us know how we can serve. Lori, is there anything else you want to say before we part?
No, it's just nice to talk with you, Coach.
Same here, champ. Same
Yeah.
here. As I leave you, I want to remind you that it costs $0 to be nice to someone. So hopefully you'll choose to do just that. Lori, you stay right there, and we're signing off. I'll see you next time.